it's Elizabeth. Today I'm having a conversation with my great friend Chelsea, and we have been talking a lot lately about what it was like when we became moms versus what we thought it would be like when our husbands became dads, and how that did not line up with what social media and movies and cultures taught us to expect, but how that's okay, and we have great husbands anyway. Before we get into that, I just want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate your likes and your subscribes and all of the things that you do. Cheers to you. Ching. Chelsea's here visiting me. She's in the great town of Galveston. And this topic keeps coming up. So I just wanted to sit down and talk about it because I was super shocked by it. Yeah. And I feel like you were too. Yeah. And we just want you guys to know
to not be shocked by it.
So that you're not alone if this happens to you, and that if this is in your future, it might go exactly how you think, but
it might go how we didn't think.
There's a lot of buildup, so hopefully you agree. Because TikTok wasn't a thing when I had my first kid, so. But like, yeah, in the movies, you have like, oh yes, 4 a.m, I'm gonna get my keys, I'm gonna go out, and I'm gonna get that ice cream you're craving. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna go bang on the Chinese restaurant window to tell them to open between that gap of lunch and dinner because you need fried rice.
For my pregnant wife.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's this whole persona of like what a good husband is during pregnancy.
Yeah.
And to me, like, yes, there's all of those things, but the thing that, for me, like, I wanted my husband to be so excited about the week and how big the baby was and like all of those things, right?
Babe, did you know it's a plum?
Yeah.
Because he has the app.
So basically what we're getting at here is our husbands were not that way at all.
No.
Like, my husband barely cared that I was pregnant. And what I mean by that is like he took really good care of me. Like, he served and loved me very well during my pregnancies. Like, totally like rubbed my foot. Just one of them, only one foot. Like, did that stuff. But he really had no connection or care about the baby.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
How old is your son?
10 months, almost 11 months.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You were more recently first time pregnant.
Yeah.
What was that like, being hormonally and pregnant and like expecting your husband to be one way?
I feel like for a while I thought I messed it up in not making the announcement special because I took a pregnancy test on a whim. Yeah, I felt like it was my fault for not hyping the situation.
Okay.
I took a pregnancy test on a whim. He was telling me not to. There's no way. Wait till you miss your period. And I was just like, no, I have to know. Feel it. And so I did. And then I screamed in the bathroom and he came in to see that it was a yes.
And what was his reaction?
Fear.
Okay, sure.
And then I was like, we should tell our moms. And he was like, already?
That was your, like, he was like, I'm scared. And you're like, we should tell our moms. Like, I was just imagining
we gotta talk to our moms.
The toilet.
He was hit with all of this. We were gonna try to get pregnant.
Right.
So I had been mentally prepared.
And you thought you needed to take a test. So I
was already there, and then it was all in one moment for him, and he seemed very scared and overwhelmed.
Actually, I feel like that's probably better.
That's probably normal.
Well, yeah, that's a normal reaction, but I mean, like, me being like, surprise! Here's a gift! I want you to be cute and excited! Like, I feel like maybe that's worse, because then you're like, in a mall? I don't know.
and he's like, okay.
I think it's a normal reaction, but I think so is the excited crying, especially for people who have had really long journeys. And
yeah.
Like, I think both of those are totally normal. Like,
maybe that's what...
it wasn't a long journey.
A piece that we're missing, too, is that, like...
We're both just fertile.
Neither of our husbands were, like, dying for this and, like, longing for this with us.
Yeah.
What got us talking about this or thinking about this, I guess, is, like, you see on TikTok or in movies, they're, like, total doting on the bump and the baby and, like, I had to, like... physically put my husband, he's kicking. Do you feel it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's happening.
Yeah. There was so much less connection during pregnancy than what I was expecting based off of like TikTok and like the movie industry and whatever. And again, I'm sure that's totally normal for some dads out there. Some people totally have that. But what we're here to say is that it's also normal for them to not have that connection. Like we like obviously are experiencing everything that is going on. We're hormonally feeling it and preparing and nesting and doing all those things. And they're just barely kind of like thinking through this stuff. And so like a real kick to me, I feel like was not the same to him. Like that kick did not symbolize a child to my husband. I feel like, at least that I
feel like what we're experiencing is like in real time, and they're very like it's an abstract notion to them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I experienced that, but for me and my first child, when I went into labor, my husband kicked in. Like he was like there. Like I could not have delivered that child without him.
Yeah, for sure.
And then from that point on, he was like world's best dad. He had, for sure, and so did I, and my first child, like, saw the baby, we're instantly in love. He's a magical baby. He's the best child in the world. We're both head over heels, and like, he's been the best father ever since. Like, that was 100% the case. Like, as soon as the baby was here, he was with it.
Yeah.
However, baby number 2, I will say, my husband was still excellently supportive and like wonderful in labor, but my labor happened a lot faster and I labored at home more. And so I don't think to him it felt real to him yet.
Yeah.
Until we went to the birthing center. But if you've watched my birthing story of my second child, I went to the birthing center and had the child within like I think maybe an hour.
Yeah.
Like I like went there and had the baby. I had the baby like immediately.
No.
But that means that like my hardest parts of labor were actually at home.
Yeah.
And because we were still home, David was still like, oh, you're okay. And I was like, please put pressure on my back. And he was like, yeah. And he like was like, you're okay. And I was like, I am not okay. Like, I need you. And like, it obviously ended up being fine. And he was like totally there and whatever. But in addition to that, Noah cried a lot more at first. I think maybe she had colic or just was like a real prissy girl, and he hated it. And like the child hated it, the crying, and like he couldn't handle it. As like for me, I was like, oh my gosh, she's crying. She has a need. I can't wait to go meet that need.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she's crying. Let me change her. Oh, she's crying. Like I had instinctively like wanted to go fix those things, but that's not how he felt at all. Now that she's older, she cries a lot less, and he's like so in love with her, and they have like the cutest little bonded relationship, and I love it. But it like first pregnancy, he was so far behind. First labor, he was so far behind where I was of what like social standards I thought he should be fitting, and the same thing for like that. Like he was not as connected to her for the first couple months, where I was very connected, but now he is, and I think we just want you to know that, like, that was my experience, and, like, that was your experience.
Yeah, it can be, like, a slow catch-up.
A slow bird.
Yeah. For us, he was born early. He was in the NICU, and for 24 hours, I couldn't be in there with him because I was, like, healing.
You were dying, literally.
Yeah. And so Richmond, like, dad mode kicked in. He was in there.
Yeah, he
had to go be in there and change the little diapers and do all the things. And
diapers are so tiny.
It was like a big relief. And we talked about like my fears of like, do you love the baby? Are you gonna love the baby? But it was like a relief and like finally proof that like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they say that, like, that you become a mom, like, when you're pregnant, they become a dad when they see the baby.
Yeah. They see the baby. Yeah. That's true.
I feel like his mind was also consumed with, like, the financial aspect.
Or, like, other,
of
like,
what this was going to mean.
How are we going to fit this in our house? Like, all of those things. True. Yeah. That's becoming a dad in their own way.
Is our car big enough for a car seat?
Yeah.
Oh, and when it came to the car seat, he like did the whole install and was like very into it and was like reading the manual. But this was like after the baby was born.
Well, your baby also came
That's
way
true.
earlier.
He was hanging out in the NICU, and Richmond was like obsessed with
the car seat manual. That's kind of cute though. Just to make sure we're being very clear, we both have wonderful husbands and wonderful fathers. And so like I don't want this to at all sound like our husbands didn't care about us when we were pregnant. Like
they cared, it just wasn't in the showy way that we expected because of the media.
But there were so many other ways that they were caring for us and then eventually obviously cared for our children.
Yeah.
Their children. And I just like don't want you to lose your crap when you're like 7 months pregnant or 9 months pregnant and you're like, please watch this video with me, take this class. And they're like, okay. You're like, but I want you to be excited to watch it or whatever.
Anyways, you'll see a lot of things that like set you up for an expectation that they might not meet.
I feel like dad culture is so weird because like in sitcoms, a lot of times the dad is like a moron.
Yeah.
And like he's clueless to the kids, but he's like the provider. But
Yeah,
he's like
according to Jen.
Yeah.
That's
or I'm thinking like of King of Queens.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's like that dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other one who's like the knight in shining armor.
Danny Tanner.
Yeah. Or even like the most romantic, like best. I mean, yeah, Danny Tanner's a great father. That's right.
Yeah.
But there's an in between, is what I'm saying.
There are like tropes. There are kind of only two tropes, though.
Yeah. It's like the dumb moron who is like clueless or the perfect husband and father. The perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But like my husband is perfect for my family.
Yeah.
Like he is a perfect father. But like at the rate that he became that and the rate that we connected with our children was different than what TikTok said and what I'm trying to think of another movie.
What to expect when you're expecting.
Yeah, what to expect when you're expecting.
Also, they have a chapter in these books that are like for the support person. It's like
this big.
A tiny chapter. And I remember asking Richmond to like read it. And he did. And I wanted us to have this like magical
deep conversation afterwards.
And he was like, I read it.
Cool.
Okay. And it's just like not really yet.
And it's funny because like obviously these things are important to us. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, please read this, babe. Please watch this video. And so for us, because we have good husbands, they're like,
they're going to do it.
Okay. But it means nothing to them. Like,
but don't expect like the best conversation of your life afterwards.
Yeah.
That comes later.
Which is also funny because our husbands are very different.
Yeah.
But we both experienced this. And so just making this video to say, hey, maybe your husband's not a TikTok dad star.
Yeah.
But he's still going to be a great father, even if you're 9 months pregnant and he's still not really excited about every single kick. Like, just give him time.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
My baby's growing.
Yeah, he's just strolling around. Bye!
Ouch.
Did you / can you on purpose like squirt your breast milk like far?
Oh yeah.
Not like everyone can do that, right? Like you just like aim it.
Oh yeah.
Like especially if she like gets going and then she leaves, it's like.
Well, because Waylon's super distracted.
Yeah.
So I will definitely aim it into his mouth, or if he's like crying too hard to like notice.